In the bustling city of Lagos, where skyscrapers kissed the sky and vendors yelled out their wares, 5 friends struggled to make ends meet. Each day was a battle against hungry bellies and empty pockets, but their spirits remained unbroken. They were Tom, the dreamer, Amy, the wise one, Kevin, the planner, Charlie, the brave heart, and Frank, the artist with a gentle soul. The sun was glaring down on them one fateful afternoon as they gathered in their usual spot, a small, makeshift shelter by the riverbank. As the water danced against the grime-laden rocks, it mirrored their hopes for a better future. "Guys, we need to do something big," Tom said, his eyes reflecting the fire within. "We're tired of living like this. I can't even afford to buy my sister a birthday gift." Amy, thoughtful as ever, rubbed her chin. "What do you have in mind, Tom?" "Your last idea involved selling groundnuts at the market, and it flopped." "Let's rob a bank," Kevin declared, his strategist mind already turning. The other friends froze, exchanging incredulous glances. Such words were uttered in jest before, but now, in the heat of the moment, they hung heavy in the air. Charlie leaned back, chuckling nervously. "You can't be serious. That's a recipe for disaster." But the fire in Tom's eyes burned brighter. "Think about it. If we pull this off, we can change our lives forever. We'll never have to worry about bills or empty stomachs." After hours of discussion, they agreed fate had given them a choice: remain poor and unyielding, or risk everything for a chance at a better life. That evening, they proclaimed themselves thieves, swindlers of fortune, vowing to take what they believed was owed to them. Planning the heist was not an easy task. They rented a small room in a decrepit building downtown, where they could prepare away from prying eyes. With paper spread around them, Kevin sketched the bank's layout. "The guard changes shifts here, and there's a blind spot by the entrance." Amy jotted down notes, outlining the risks. "We need to have supplies ready. Masks, gloves, weapons. And we mustn't forget to keep a lookout for any security cameras." Charlie was tasked with creating a distraction. "I set off fireworks. Nothing draws a crowd like bright lights and loud noises." Frank, always the artist, was responsible for painting their masks distinctive and colorful, so that they could express their identities while shrouded in anonymity. As they worked late into the night, the bond between them tightened, but so did the tension as personal ambitions began to surface. One evening, as they were wrapping up their plans, Charlie said, "What if we each took more than just our share, once we get in? I mean, if nobody knows what we're really after, shouldn't we take advantage of it? Are you suggesting we double-cross each other?" Kevin questioned, annoyance flickering across his face. No. Just, more for our families. They've suffered too." Amy shook her head. "We are in this together. No greed. If we succeed, we split it evenly." But the seeds of distrust had been planted, and beneath their camaraderie lay the quiet rumblings of greed. Finally, the day of the heist arrived. They dressed in dark clothing, their painted marks obscuring their identities. The sun was barely peeking over the horizon, painting the city in hues of orange and pink. "Are you all ready?" Kevin asked, checking the time. Nervous energy buzzed in the air like electricity. "Let's do this," Tom said, his voice steady, though his heart raced. They each affirmed their commitment and, without another word, set off toward the bank. As they approached, a wave of anxiety washed over them. The enormity of their decision loomed ahead, but they pushed forward. They soon reached the back entrance, where they would implement Kevin's carefully constructed plan. Inside the bank, all seemed normal. The employees bustled about, unaware of the storm that was about to hit. Charlie rushed for the alarm, intending to disable it, while Kevin quietly took note of the armed guard at the main entrance. Tom and Frank moved into position; they'd be the ones to negotiate with the bank staff. But the moment they were inside, things spiraled out of control. A laser beam of red light sparked down from the ceiling, striking Charlie just as he reached for the alarm. Panic set in as he froze, the light wrapping around him like a serpent. "Charlie!" Tom yelled, but it was too late. The guard had seen him. Gunfire erupted, ringing in their ears like a tolling bell of doom. Charlie's body fell lifeless to the ground, and as alarms wailed in the distance, chaos ensued. Frank's hands trembled as he clutched a bag of cash. "We need to go. We need to get out," he screamed. "Don't just stand there." Kevin backed, pulling Frank along. But they were too late. Police cars surrounded the area, red and blue lights flashing. "Charlie is dead," Kevin shouted, breathing heavily. The weight of their greed pressed down on them like 1,000 pounds. Panic took control, and in that moment of fear, they abandoned their plan. Tom coaxed the others toward an escape route through the back, but Amy hesitated, fear rooted in her heart. "We can't just leave. You want to die here." Tom spat, dragging her away. But, as they fled, Frank stumbled over a loose stone, his back spilling open, scattering cash everywhere. "Run. Just run." Kevin moved like a shadow, but the police were closing in. Shots rang out, echoing in the streets, and amid the chaos, Frank was struck. He fell, a scream caught in his throat and the last flicker of hope extinguished from his eyes. The remaining duo sprinted through the alleys, adrenaline fueling their escape, yet Amy, ever conscious, looked back. "We have to go back for Frank," she said, but the weight of two fallen friends stood against their resolve. "No. We must keep moving," Tom said. But the cracks of gunfire echoed in the distance, growing ever nearer. As they ran, Amy caught a glimpse of something shocking, a familiar face behind one of the police cars. It was Kevin's cousin, a police officer, and a wave of realization washed over her. "Kevin, is he one of them?" I didn't know," Kevin stammered, panic-stricken, his heart racing not just from fear but from guilt. "He betrayed us for the bounty. He promised to tip them off if we ever planned anything." "You mean to tell me you plotted our demise?" Tom's voice was low, threatening. "I didn't think. We were in over our heads. He has a lot of power." A fierce argument erupted as the police continued their pursuit, but seconds felt like hours and emotions ran high. Out of the shadows, a shape darted toward them. "Amy. Come with me." She had an escape route mapped and urged them on. But as they turned into an alleyway, sirens blared. Kevin faltered behind. His fear overcame him, and he stumbled, taking a single bullet to the chest that silenced him forever. With Kevin's betrayal weighing heavy on his soul, Tom and Amy dashed through the streets. They were lost, every turn dragging them deeper into chaos. It was not until they reached a dead-end alley that they finally stopped, breathless. They could hear the police getting closer. "We have to split up," Tom said, desperation coloring his words. "They'll chase us both if we stick together." "No. We can't get separated." Amy's pleas fell on deaf ears as Tom made a frantic decision. He saw it as the only chance, clutching the bag of 10 billion naira tightly against his chest, he turned. He would take the dark path leading into the heart of the city, where he'd blend with the crowd. "Promise me you won't let them catch you," Amy said, tears streaming down her face. "You have to make it out." With a heavy heart, Tom nodded and fled. They never saw each other again. Days turned into weeks, and Tom hid, the weight of the money heavy on his conscience. Every corner turned, every rustle in the night brought memories of his fallen friends crashing down upon him. They had dreamed of a better life, but now all he felt was guilt. In time, the news of the heist dominated the headlines. 5 friends turned thieves, 4 dead, all for riches that had ultimately led to misery. A flood of emotions coursed through Tom, leaving him more isolated than ever. As he sat alone in a crumbling apartment, he made a decision. He wouldn't touch a single naira. The money was their blood money, stained by the betrayal they faced. Instead, he would anonymously return the money to their families. Tom visited Charlie's mother first, one night cloaked in the darkness. He quietly slipped the bag of cash onto her doorstep and left, tears streaming down his face. He continued through the heart of the city, visiting Amy's family, Frank's home, and even Kevin's relatives. With each payment, he left behind a note that read, "Your loved ones were brave, and though their lives ended in tragedy, I hope this fortune eases your burdens." With every act of kindness, he felt the weight of guilt lift just a little more. He watched as the families used the money to start businesses, buy new homes, and live the lives his friends had dreamed of. It was 3 years later when Tom finally stepped out into the sunlight again, a new man altered by his experiences. He did not let the fortune change him, for he understood the price of greed was far too steep. Walking through the streets, he saw businesses thriving, families smiling, and the joy of a community lifted by what he had given. His heart swelled as he knew his friends had not died in vain. He had begun volunteering at local shelters, providing support for those in need. The haunting memories of that day faded with time, but the love for his friends and the lessons learned remained burning in his chest. Around a campfire one evening, Tom shared the tale of the 5 friends with children who gathered around him, their eyes wide with wonder. He emphasized that wealth comes in many forms: friendship, trust, and compassion. Remember, bravery without wisdom leads to chaos, he would say. And sometimes the greatest treasures are not those we steal, but those we cultivate within ourselves and share with others. As the stories echoed through the generations, the names of Charlie, Amy, Frank, and Kevin lived on. The treasure they sought was found not in riches but in the hearts of those they left behind and in the choices Tom made thereafter, a reminder that while darkness may tempt, the light of friendship and integrity would always prevail. In the heart of Lagos, under the glowing stars, the legend of the Big Bank heist endured through time, a fable woven with moral lessons, the weight of greed, the pain of betrayal, and the true treasure of solidarity and love. If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and turn on the notification for more interesting, mind-blowing stories. Thank you.